Good morning, friends. So this is 10 o'clock. What we'll do is we'll just wait for another 10 more minutes, and people are just joining the session. And few mails got bounced, so I'm just trying to call them and reconnecting them. So just give me 10 more minutes. We'll just start the session. Thank you. Good morning, friends. So this is 10 o'clock. What we'll do is Good morning, dear friends. This is Saravanan. So, we'll start the session in just 1 or 2 minutes, and people are joining. Let them join. And I'm sorry for last week. Something went wrong, and I couldn't have the session last week. So now, so we split it into two sessions. We had one on Wednesday, and this is the second session today we're going to have. So what we'll do is like basically it's going to be the same topic. So I recorded the session and I'm going to play the recorded version now, and it may go till 11:30 or so. And after the session, we'll have a questionnaire session. Like so, whatever you have, your doubts, everything will be clarified after that. So anything you can just message me. I'll be just watching, and we'll accumulate all the questions, and the answering session will be after 11:30. So I think now we'll start the session. Okay. Good morning, everyone. It's 10:10. I think we can start the session and let people join whenever it's possible. Um, Good morning, friends. I'm Saravanan here from the Aquaponics India. I'm doing this session at Coimbatore. I'm brought up at Coimbatore basically. So uh, now I'll take the session like this. Okay. Okay, I think you all can see my presentation screen. I'm sorry, last time the system crashed and my camera, I couldn't recover it. So this time I thought I'll just do only the presentation with my audio, and let's see like if something can be done for the coming session that's on Sunday. So um, today we are going to talk about future of aquaponics, and let me introduce myself. So basically, I'm Saravanan. My main business is like we do designer products. Like we work on 65 different technologies where I fuse art, engineering, and I do customized products. Basically, I've done my mechanical engineering, and then I did my master's in energy engineering, and then out of interest, I did my law, became a lawyer, and have enrolled in Coimbatore Bar Association. I'm not practicing it as a full time, but still I'm an advocate. Now, for the past 4 years, like I'm also working on organic farming, so I'm a organic farmer come trainer in aquaponics. So this business basically, Glow Designers was very helpful for me to design a lot of units in fact. So when we started Aquaphonics, basically Aquaphonics is something new. It was Greek and Latin when I started 4 years back. So it was introduced to me through one of my friends, and when he said, generally I'm a guy like I try to explore things. So that's how I started Glow Designers and started exploring different technologies. So basically here what we do is like we print on different mediums like pictures. Like generally you take a photo print, put it on different frames and do it. But here we can print on any medium, we can engrave on any medium, we can cut any material of any thickness and size. So if I say any material, I could say like metals like MS, mild steel, stainless steel, copper, brass, you name any material, or ceramic, non-ceramic materials like tiles, granite, marble, wood, synthetic wood, acrylic, glass, mirrors. So name anything in fact. So we only do customized products. It's all made to order. So anything unique you want, like basically we are here to help you. So that's how we started, and we are doing this for the past more than 10 years. And so we do pictures on any medium like inlays, pop-up arts, and things like that. We do designer trophies for golf or any customized trophies, and for corporate companies. We do designer name boards, tabletop, or any other thing, wall artwork, and things like that. So doing all these things was really a beautiful journey. Last 4 years, like we tried a lot more things in aquaponics. In fact. So let me talk about aquaponics, how I got introduced to aquaponics. So when one of my friends introduced me, then I was really curious to know like what is this new technology. Then I started Googling and finding a lot more things, but we didn't get more informations because like most of the informations were American or Australian based videos and some social media blogs and things like that. So it was new, and but it was really nice to see that it was answering a lot of our current problems. In fact, so when I started exploring, I went to Kerala. Kerala was one of the first states who brought in aquaponics because Kerala's staple food is fish. So aquaculture is done in a big way there. At least they consume a lot. Like West Bengal and Kerala, two states, they consume a lot of fish. In fact, so they started and they wanted to do with aquaculture and things like that. And we had a lot of positive as well as negative reports on aquaponics. I'm talking about 4 years back. So there were few backyards. Even now, there are only few backyards. People have not started in a big commercial scale. There are very few in the whole nation who have done like Madhavi farms in Bangalore and things like that. So, but it is gaining momentum because of our agriculture segment is really being affected, and it's really gaining momentum. In fact. So that's how I started working on aquaponics, and I didn't have any place to go and learn. So I started approaching aquaculture people separately to know about fish and other things. I'm growing fish from my childhood. I love fish, like so ornamental fishes basically. So other fish. So it was nice talking to different experts and vice chancellors, professors of different departments in aquaculture, and did the same in agriculture also. So wanted to learn about organic farming. So before that, you have to understand what is farming and how you do organically, how you do inorganic farming and things like that. So started meeting a lot of forums and meeting people who are doing organic farming and understanding how a soil-based agriculture works. In fact, and it was a long journey, and it was so nice every time, like you learn something, you try to build a system and work on it, and you burn your fingers, there are ifs and buts, and when the crop really comes out, that's really amazing. So that's how we learn. So like basically it's a research sort of thing, and last for 4 years, like it was a great journey. Maybe I'll share a couple of pictures in the end. So that's about me and my journey starting with aquaponics. And it's going to be a long journey and still a lot to learn in fact. So about today's session, basically like we just split it into four parts. Like we'll talk about present scenario of global food production, and then we'll talk about issues in agriculture and aquaculture industries, and then we'll talk about what is aquaponics and its alternatives. There are few more alternatives which are there in the market, and how aquaponics takes edge over others. Then we'll talk about what makes aquaponics the best sustainable organic food production technology. So we'll take it like this. Maybe if everything goes fine, maybe every half an hour or maybe every 1 hour, I think we'll have a questionnaire session if you want, or maybe we'll have the questionnaire session at the end. So whichever you prefer, I think you guys can message me. So I can also see what is happening, and I think we'll go that way. So a present scenario of global food production. We'll start from the Green Revolution. So the Green Revolution started in 1950s to 1960s, late 60s, and the whole world, it started working on producing more food because at that time it was really a very important thing they have to do because people were starving, we didn't have sufficient food, people were dying of hunger. So Green Revolution, we couldn't have stopped it. It was the need of that hour, so it started. But the main problem in that is like it completely disrupted our sustainable living pattern, in fact. So what happened is they started producing food. So for that, a lot of research they started doing. All these inorganic manures and the pesticides started coming in. So they improved the yield, but the problem is they didn't fix the quality. So at the cost of the quality, they improved the yield. So that was one big issue. Now we are harvesting whatever the mistakes they did. So now we are facing all these things as cancer, ailments, and whatever you name it, like we are saying it. So that was the beginning, in fact. And corporate companies played a major role in introducing the inorganic chemicals and pesticides inside agricultural industry. And the second one, we could talk about the industrial revolution and the globalization, in fact. So this industrial revolution and globalization, a lot of industries coming in, has polluted our planet to a very great extent. So we have heard about global warming, the temperature rising. We have contaminated the whole ecosystem. So Panchabhudam, whatever we talk about, we completely contaminated the whole system. In fact, so now we are finding new ways how to come out of it. So this pollution and contamination basically like is the main root cause for the climate change. Now you can see the climate changing visually. You can feel the climate change, in fact. Maybe 10 years, 15 years back, scientists and researchers were really warning us that we are going to get into a trouble and things like that. We are no more warning stage. We are inside the problem now. The climate change has started, and we are seeing it. And this globalization, it has also affected our lifestyle. It has affected our social behavior, eating pattern. Our tradition has gone out. People started going Western. There's nothing wrong going Western, basically. Like you can adapt to anything, but you should not lose your tradition. So it's like learning your mother tongue. You have to learn your mother tongue. Then on top of it, you can learn any number of languages. So it should be like that. Don't forget your mother tongue and then do it. So now, unfortunately, this type of confusion has started with the younger generation, and that's again an issue, in fact. Now, corporate has completely made us slaves and with their products and their services. So anything now we have to depend on some brand, some companies. Everybody is now depending on some brand. So initially, what all we were doing, now we no longer do it. We try to get it from outside, and then we have some brand for that. So here, corporate played a major role in doing so. In fact, and the next important point, what I could see is it's like selfish or wrong political policies on globalization has changed the mindset of the labor. Now, basically, the labor's mindset, the working community, I'm talking about the laborers who are working on the ground, their mindset has completely changed. I don't know about North India, but I could very much say about South India. It has completely been affected. We have a lot of labor shortage in all the industries. I'm not talking about agriculture. I'm talking about all the industries are suffering, and the most affected is the agriculture segment. In fact, the population is still increasing, it's not decreasing, but the labor shortage is also increasing. So now it should be an inversely proportional, but it's a directly proportional. It is increasing, both are increasing. That's not good, in fact. And then one of the main reasons are again political policies like freebies. See, even Western countries, they don't give freebies, and they completely work on whatever you work, they pay you. That's the system they have. But our political parties, they want to come, so they want to give something. They work on a lot of corporate marketing strategies. So these are all one among them. Give them some free and things like that. So people get free, they don't want to work. This 100-day work system, even though it's a good system, but do you think people work in that? So people go there, they just sit, do nothing, get 20 rupees, you give it to the guy, 80 rupees, they take it, they come out. So something like that. So now again, people have become lazy. They don't want to work. They don't want to do hard work. They want to, now they call it a smart work. Ideally sitting, getting money, it's not smart work. Smart work is really doing some smart work and getting more money. In fact, now people want to get more money and work less. So that's a very wrong attitude. I think they have inculcated with the labor force, and we are really suffering because now after this COVID situation, like a lot of North Indians have gone to their native. Now here, I think it's going to be very difficult for people. There is a lot of unemployment, but still, the attitude, I don't know how far it's changed. Particularly, I'll talk about Tamil Nadu, this task mark. Basically, unfortunately, the government is completely depending on the liquor industry. It has taken over, and it is having targets and pushing liquor to all citizens, in fact. So now what happens is like you earn, you drink, and that's it. So no productive work happens. So these type of things really affect the labors, and it affects the industries too. So next, we'll talk about the climate change. Climate change in the past 10 years. So you can see like climate is really changing, and you can feel it. If you take the meteorology department, you can take the data. Every year in the news, we can see people talking about we have seen flood not not less than 100 years. We have not seen a flood like this. We have not seen the temperature rising. We have not seen this rise of temperature in last 50 years, 75 years. So last 10 years consistently we are seeing there is change in climate, and this change in climate is happening throughout the world. It's not only in India, it's happening throughout the world. We could see snowfalls in deserts. We could see flood happening. Tsunami is one other example. The first tsunami, I think in 95 or so, we saw the first tsunami. But after that, we saw a lot of tsunamis. Before that, we don't even know what is tsunami. So now glaciers melting, the ozone layer depletion, skin cancers, and there's a huge concern of this global warming, the rising temperature. The whole world is really working on that. They want to change policies. They want to reduce the pollution, and this is in a very big way it is happening. So last 10 years, I will say this has completely changed, and now if it continues in the same pattern, I think in next 20 to 30 years, then there will be a lot of changes where human race itself may get evolved to something else. So it's a very serious problem we have to see. I think everybody would have seen the movie 2012. So you see a big disaster happening, and the whole world is destroyed. So you can't be surprised if that happens tomorrow. And today we are seeing that. We are in a pandemic situation. We are seeing such things happening, in fact. So we have to really work on this. We have to see where the problem is and how to solve it. So today's situation is really complicated. So where does this problem starts? We all underestimate our mother nature. So basically, and the root cause, I would say, it's all the human beings. See, this world is shared with a lot of living beings. It's not only us, the human beings I'm talking about. We are so selfish. We are not bothered about other living beings. We are not bothered about other co-human beings. So we say in the name of science, in the name of technology, we try to say like I'm powerful than the mother nature, which is very, very wrong. Mother nature is always powerful and she is so gracious. I think this COVID-19 is one of the best example for that. See, our mother nature has evolved a lot of problems and pandemics, everything. She has just come out. She knows everything. If you say I'm really powerful than you, and if you start working, that's what we have been doing for the last 10 years in the name of science, in the name of development, in the name of technology. We have polluted. We can't balance. So we have only one goal and we just leave around all the other issues. That's how it started. Now, COVID 19 is one beautiful example, and I think it has come at the right time. Mother Nature has warned us, has made us sit inside our houses. She made only the human beings to do that. She has let all the other living beings open and they're all living happily. And she has started cleaning the whole system. Nobody would have listened if anything would have happened. Now we are scared of our lives. We are sitting inside our house and she's cleaning all the rivers, she's cleaning all the air, everything. So we have to understand the fact of Mother Nature is very, very powerful, and we have to just live with the Mother Nature. We have to try to live with the ecosystem. The problem is we have completely come out of the ecosystem. We have started developing our own things, and we say like we have an alternative, but still we have not found an alternative for air, for water, or whatever it is. So the best life is having a sustainable living. 100 years back, I would say, like we had a beautiful sustainable living. Everything was happening along with the ecosystem. That's why it was really doing good. But now, unfortunately, like we have started deviating, and more of these corporate companies play a major role. Politicians of different countries, they also play a major role. And we as an individual, yes, like we also have to be blamed for that. We accepted it, in fact. So whatever it is. So now it's high time we have to be responsible. It's a social responsibility to keep our mother nature clean and healthy. I think people, those who are above 40, will admit with me. Basically, like we had a wonderful uh, childhood. Maybe our maybe 10 years, 15 years, our childhood was really wonderful. Sorry, like, no. Man, I'm in a webinar actually. Anything important? Illam, sorry, later. So, sorry. So what happened is like we had a beautiful childhood where we had a life without cell phones, without television, trunk calls being booked in fact, and we were with nature. We used to go to our farmlands and our grandparents' house. So we really had a wonderful life. But do you think this generation, this younger generation, really have seen that? They don't even know what it is. They know only brands. They know only iPads, iPhone, you name anything, and your shirts, pants, everything is brand. Kids are really they don't know what is the real world. Now it is our responsibility that we have to at least do something to just stop this. Show these kids the real world. It is our responsibility. Now, because of this real bad scenario, now the whole world is working on sustainable development. Now, the WHO is really hunting for new solutions, new methods for a sustainable living. So now WHO has come out with 17 sustainable goals, wherein the whole world, all the countries have to follow these 17 sustainable goals. So they have a 2030 plan by 2030. This happens because like the global temperature has just gone up 1 degree. Because of this 1 degree rise, we see all these climate change and catastrophic issues in fact. They are expecting if it goes in the same pace, like very shortly we'll be touching a 2 degree. When you touch a 2 degree, then it's completely a big disaster. As I told you, humans may not evolve completely, we will not exist. Something new may evolve, like we ourselves may completely change, our DNA may change, who knows? The nature knows everything. So now it's high time. They talk about it's the tipping point. See, for every mistake, that there is an elastic limit. Now we are in the final limits, in fact. Now, if we don't start working, what happens is the elastic it breaks. So, in that tipping point, when you cross that tipping point, then if you regret and if you try to come back, also you cannot come back. So now we are in that tipping point, and it's high time everybody has to change their lifestyle, their food habits, everything. We have to sit and think. So this COVID has given us time to think, given us time to spend time with our family. Why we are running? What is the point earning all these things? Now economically, everybody is really good when compared to maybe 50 years, 100 years. But are we eating good food? You may have an Audi car, you may have a Benz car, but are you eating a real organic good food? You're not. You know you're eating poison. And you are feeding the same poison to your kid, knowingly. So now we have to really sit back and think what we have to do next. Fortunately, I'll tell you, like Aquaponics is one of the beautiful system which sits in more of these 17 points in fact. So the 17 points are like no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation. See, I'll tell you, like aquaponics can really work on most of these things. In fact, affordable and clean energy. So aquaponics can fit in that. You're not giving any pollution in that. In no poverty and no hunger, you can really produce a lot of food. This is a beautiful system. This is a natural ecosystem. You are working on a natural ecosystem, and this will give you a sustainable food production in fact. So what happens is basically like you are with organic technology where you won't give any pollution to the nature, and as well as it can be done energy efficiently. You can use energy efficient way, or you can use renewable energy like solar, wind, and other things for pumping things like that. So if you start working on that, really work on quality education. Yes, we have to teach our kids like how to grow food. We are talking about robotics. We are talking about a lot more new technology. Without robotics, we can live. Can we live without food? Are we teaching them? Now, in a kid, we ask him where the water is coming from. He says it's from a tap. So, where you get a milk, we get it from a grocery store. Is this the education what we want to give our kids? I'm so sorry for this, but it's the reality. So, decent work and economic growth can be achieved with this, and industries, innovation, and infrastructure. You can do beautiful urban farming in this. It's another beautiful system. Um, uh, Reduces inequality is different, like sustainable cities. Yeah, this is a beautiful system for this 11 point sustainable cities and communities. See, now basically what happens is cities are really growing faster. The density of the cities are really going high. We don't have space. That's why like we are going horizontally as well as vertically. We don't stretch much on horizontal side, so we are stretching vertically. Now there's a huge density, but the food is not produced inside the city. The food is completely coming outside. That's from the rural. So you can make smart cities. You can grow food inside the cities. Aquaponics is a beautiful system where you can grow and you can have a sustainable growth. In fact, uh, responsible consumption on production. Yes, you don't have to waste. You can recycle the waste. Again, you can just work on that. Aquaponics again works on that. Climate action, as I told you, the temperature or all the climate issues can be addressed. Uh, life below water. Talking about fish and any aquatic animal, aquaponics plays a role in that. Life on land, again, trees, animals, coexistence. Aquaponics again works in that. Peace industries and okay, partnership for the goals. Okay, so this is different. So what I would say is like most of these goals can be achieved through aquaponics, or aquaponics will have at least a small role in achieving these goals, in fact. So that way, like, it's again a beautiful system. Now the next important question what we were want to ask is still India a self-sufficient country? It was. Maybe I'm talking about in the context of a farmer or an agriculture industry. We are working on technologies, lot more things. Let's not talk about all those things. I'm talking about food production because, like, we know India, it's basically like our backbone is agriculture. But still, can you say this? Still, the backbone of India is agriculture? No. Now you can see 2011 census says like 2,000 farmers are leaving farming and moving towards the cities for better livelihood, for better education, for better earning, whatever it is. So now this is a real bad scenario. You talk about a lot of farmers, backbone is farming, and now farmers they start moving out to cities. Cities are stretching, we all know, and farming is shrinking. And people go out like this. So it's something it says like 60,000 farmers a month and 7.2 lakhs of farmers every year. So they predict in 2035 India will be left with 8% farmers to feed 150 crore people. Is it not an alarming factor? A very, very important thing which we have to think. See, we will earn tomorrow. There won't be anybody to feed us. We'll fight for water. We see all these things in our social media and a lot more social people awareness. They talk about this. We don't have water. We don't have proper food. See, this is really an alarming situation. See, one side we are quitting agriculture, trying to learn something else, engineering or whatever it is, go to the city so that you get a good livelihood and things like that. Do you think we are doing that? You just see our youngsters finishing their MBAs, finishing their engineering and working in Swiggy, Zomato, name a few other. Even in corporation, people are working. I'm talking about corporation labors for sewage cleaning, engineering guys going and applying for that. Where are we going? I really don't understand. These are all things we really have to address, in fact. So it's high time we have to think about this and we have to stop this. So next one, like we saw the global food production scenario as in today. Now we'll see what are all the issues in agriculture and aquaculture. See, before talking about aquaponics, I wanted to tell you these things so that you will know the basic problems what we face of what an agriculture farmer is facing or that agriculture industry is facing. Then I can tell you what is aquaponics and how this is going to be useful in all these things. That's why I'm talking about these things now. Now, issues in agriculture and aquaculture industries. There are three parts in this industry. Any industry has these three parts, like the producer or the manufacturer. The number two is the seller, or the trader or the dealer, and three is the buyer or the consumer. So we all are default buyers or consumers. We buy something. So whether we produce or whether we sell or not, we are consumers. So each and every one of us, we are consumers basically. Now there are challenges in these different segments. So maybe we'll talk about one by one. challenges faced by the producers in agriculture and aquaculture industries. The first point is poor soil quality. Since we have started using inorganic chemicals as manure and pesticides, initially it was doing good, it was giving yield, but what happened is like it completely made the soil infertile. There is no microbes in the soil. So the natural ecosystem is, it's like you grow the plants are consumed by animal or human being, we take the energy and the waste comes out. That waste becomes the manure for the plant again. It enriches the soil, the microbes convert the waste as plant food and then again it goes up. So this is completely eco cycle. This is how the nature has designed it. But now the inorganic chemicals, it has completely stopped the cycle. It has disrupted the cycle. You say like I grow plants with a chemical manure. You consume the plant and you eat, you consume, you produce waste. This waste I will not give it to the plant. Now you are dumping with chemicals. So what happens is that chemical becomes a pollutant and whatever the waste, the biodegradable waste, that becomes a big problem. And now one of the biggest problem in the whole world is waste management. WHO is giving crores and crores, every government is spending millions and millions to just address these problems in fact. Why do you want to do it? You disrupted the whole ecosystem, you created one system and now it started piling up and dumping. So now, because of this, the soil is completely got infertile. You don't have microbes in the soil. So a normal agriculture is not possible. You have to depend on manure. You started buying manure outside. Initially, you were enriching it. Your waste became the manure. Now the manure has become an input cost. You have to buy it from a corporate company. Look at the play of a corporate here. So you have to buy the manure or the pesticide from a corporate. Number two is the climate change. Now we saw because of the industrialization, the climate is completely changing. It has completely disrupted the whole system. We have very poor rainfall. There's a huge rain coming and there's flood. The flood doesn't help you in any way. And the other part is you don't get rain at all. You don't have water. So now, how will a farmer work on both the situations? So this pattern is not only the rainfall, your temperature has gone up, so completely the ecosystem has changed. So for an example, I'll tell you, Ooty is a place where it is supposed to be a cold climate place. Now it is warm there. Even in winter you go, afternoons are warmer, it is not colder in fact. So likewise, all over the country or all over the world, we could see changes of climate in fact. So in future, you will not get rainfall. One, your average seasonal rainfall has gone down more than 50%. Whatever the rains you are getting now, it is all cyclone driven rains. These are all not seasonal rains. And then again, we don't preserve or we don't conserve these water. Maybe 100 years back, our Raja system was having beautiful ponds and lakes. And we guys, we have completely occupied all the ponds, river, lakes. We started building buildings, institutions, houses, or whatever it is. So we don't conserve our water also. There is a huge flood, all our buildings are underwater. So this climate change again affects both agriculture as well as aquaculture. Aquaculture, without water you can't grow fish or any aquatic. You could see even the catchment areas, I'm talking about the dams, catchment areas drying up in summer. Then where will you do aquaculture? The third is acute labor problem. I am very sure about South India. I'm not very sure about North India regarding this point. But again, we don't have quality labors, and when you don't have labor, you can't do agriculture because it's done in a big farmland. One or two owners cannot do the whole show. See now here, what happens is like the labor is cheap in. I'm talking about the pay what you give for a labor. Agriculture labor is very less. you pay around 250 to 350 rupees per day. But the same work, if he comes to a city, he'll easily get 500 to 700 rupees for any work he does. And then again, in the cities, he tries to do a work in a AC room and in a cloth center, in a boutique or anywhere. So he doesn't have to put effort. There you have to work on sun. It's a hard work. So people don't prefer that. So labor for agriculture, I think it has become tough all over the nation. For particularly agriculture, you don't get labor. And again, talking about the 100-day wages, so those who also want to work, they don't want to come and work in our field, wherein the government is giving some X amount for not working, chuma sitting and getting that. So unfortunately, labor has become a big issue. So agriculture is completely affected. Poor supply chain, so a farmer maybe when he produces something, he can't bring that produce to the city because city is the main hub or a small town near his village or whatever it is. So this supply chain is again a big problem for him. Poor storage facility. See, basically, like it is a perishable product. When we talk about any agricultural product, it's a perishable product. We don't have a proper technology to store all these things. So that's again a major problem for a farmer. He doesn't get his price. Producers could not determine their price. So any farmer he cannot predict his price, and he cannot fix a price for him. So today the tomato may be 50 rupees, tomorrow it may be 75 rupees, and day after it may be 5 rupees. So nobody can predict the actual price, and you can't foresee any price before doing in agriculture. So this is a big uncertainty in agriculture. And next, corporate dependency for raw materials. This past 20 to 30 years, corporate played a major role, and now you are completely dependent on every raw material you will buy only from a corporate. So this is another very pathetic situation which we have to change unless it's very difficult, right? So other key points to know before venturing into agri business is like basically like you are dealing with living beings, and so you have to understand the basics and the uncertainties. So it's like you have to understand the food habits, you have to understand the nutrients, like a plant, like for an animal, for a plant, what is the actual nutrients it needs. Everybody thinks growing a plant is very easy. It's not so, because you have a separate university for growing plants, and like you have a medical university for us, human autonomy. Like you have a separate university for plants. Now, how can you say it is easy? Every plant differs. It needs a different nutrient level. It has a different pest attack. It has a different deficiency, disease. There are a lot of things in fact. It grows completely different in different temperatures and humidity. So there are a lot more things you have to understand the plant. So before getting inside the plant as well as animal or fish or anything, you have to understand the basics. The disease deficiency of this you have to understand. Maintain the quality and yield. So this again depends on the type of nutrients you give. Are you giving sufficient water? Are you giving them the right temperature? And things. There are a lot of parameters in fact. And then is the mismatch between the input cost, production cost, and the selling cost. In fact, see, this is one of the major problem every farmer is facing. The input cost, that's the actual cost you put on producing, and the production cost is all the other labor, electricity, and other things you just add to it. So both of these input, maybe we can talk about the seeds, the manure, the pest, whatever it is, and the other costs are labor, electricity, plowing, harvesting, whatever it is. So when you put all these things together, that's your production cost, and you have to sell more than that. Then only you make profit. But unfortunately, this is not happening. So after doing all these things, your selling cost is much lesser than your production cost. So this is why a farmer is really suffering and he couldn't do farming. Like how long he can do it? Once or twice he can just bear this loss. After that he can't do. So this is one of the major issue, like farmers are quitting agriculture. So the next one is issues in agro business like marketing and sales. like no standard produce. Like again, since we don't have proper technology or people don't have the proper knowledge, because the soil is different in different places, the seed whatever they are getting, so there are different standards, so we don't have a standard production pattern or the technology impact. Again, depends on the rainfall, depends on your climate, so there are a lot of things which affects, so you couldn't do that. And uncontrolled and excuse me, unpredictable pricing. As I already said, nobody can predict a price. So any produce doesn't happen in a day. It happens in 1 month, in 3 months, in 6 months, or in a year. So you can't predict when you are selling what will be the price. Today there will be a demand, but you don't know while selling it will happen. So this is again a big uncertainty for anybody to market their produce. And next is demand and supply gap. So there is a huge demand for good produce, maybe particularly in cities, and people are ready to even pay more. But unfortunately, like those are not being produced and brought to cities, in fact. So now, yes, people are working on it. Organizations and societies are coming up, but still, the gap is huge. The demand and supply gap is really huge in that. Next, poor transportation from villages means that the next important point is the middleman. See, always the producer, I'm talking about the farmer, he doesn't get good price at all. He always gets only very less, or he's in loss. And the consumers, we don't pay less. We always pay. You go to a spa market, you go to any vegetable market or anything, you don't pay less. But whatever we pay, it doesn't go to the farmer, in fact. So the middleman always makes the money. And mostly the corporates have taken over this middleman job. So they go squeeze the farmer and they get it for a rock bottom price, and they make their profit just by giving to the cities. So now this is one important point. Even if you want to do farming through aquaponics, you have to cut this middleman. That's one important point you have to understand. Then the next one is adulteration and malpractice. See, this is one other very common problems we have. We don't even admit or think it is wrong. Adulteration is part of our system. So we don't say what's wrong in that. So this is again a heights of our selfishness. I'm not bothered about the other health or their issues. I want money. So this again is one other selfish behavior which really makes things very difficult to sell anything. So we have to just come out of this or find ways to just come out of this adulteration, because adulteration is there everywhere. In all the produce you can see there will be adulteration. That's one other important point. And then lack of grading. See, basically, like a farmer, they produce, they put it in one bag and just they wanted to sell it. They wanted the whole price. But these corporates, they buy it from them, they grade it, small, big, medium, whatever it is, and they have different prices for that, and they make money. Unfortunately, the farmer, they don't know what to do and how to do this, in fact. So this again is one of the problem for the farmer to market their products. So this is one other important comparison wherein we can say why agriculture is has failed, in fact. So basically, I'm talking about organic farming, or I'm talking about sustainable farming, which we were been doing 15 years, 50 years, or 100 years back. But the next one is the inorganic farming, or the corporate farming, or the chemical farming. You can name anything, whatever you say. Now, I just say the difference basically. So what happens is, in a organic farming, the soil preparation is done by the owner. I'm talking about like we were in a small farmer batch. We had our own land and we had people to do that. So in this, I don't want to go elaborate. I wanted to say the input cost of organic sustainable farming is very less. See, say the soil preparation, the manure, everybody will have some cows and they were producing their own manure. They didn't pay for the manure. They had their own seed banks, and then they were using their own seed. They didn't buy the seed outside. And pesticides, they had a lot of organic. Even today, there are a lot of organic pesticides available, which they didn't pay for it, and it's healthy. It's not harmful. Also, it is a part of the ecosystem. And again, doing all these things, whatever, so their input cost completely goes down. When you compare to an inorganic farming, everything is being bought from a company. So that's why I said your raw material, you're completely dependent on a corporate company. So the manure you will buy from a company, the seed you are buying from a company, and I don't know whether how many of you have bought a seed, and behind the packet you would see like, don't eat it, it's poison, keep away from children. So even from there you start your chemicals. The seeds are dipped in chemicals. So from there the poison starts in fact. And your pesticides, absolutely your pesticides are chemicals. It is poison for the pest or whatever the insect you're talking about. It's poison for us also. And then unfortunately they don't kill only the unwanted insects. They kill even the good insects like your bees, like your earthworms, which are really friend of a farmer. So that's another problem, pesticides. And when you produce a product like this in an organic farming, your input cost is very less, so your production cost is less, and it's a sustainable production. Here, you have to each and every time depend on a corporate. Each and every time getting a manure, seed, or whatever it is, you have to depend on a corporate. And after putting so much of input in this, where do you sell it? Again, it is being consumed by a corporate. And since he knows the farmer is not having any technology, he will squeeze him. He knows it is a perishable product. It can't last long, maybe for a couple of days or just a week. After that, he can't hold it. So he will ask for a rock bottom price. Maybe you can say no the first time or the second time. Then the third time, you know your products are going to go waste. So he will just succumb to him, and whatever the price he says, he'll give it to them. So, when your input cost is high and your selling cost is low, how can a farmer succeed in this business? So, this is the basic problem. This we have to see, and we have to completely change to organic farming and then cut this middleman. Don't give it to a corporate. Try to give it to the end user. There you'll make money. So these are all a few important points to points and issues where agriculture and the aquaculture industry is really suffering. Now we go to the next topic. It's uh, modern alternatives, alternative method of farming. So basically, like after this, there are three new phonics popped up called hydroponics, aeroponics, and aquaponics. So hydroponics is there for quite a long time. In fact, should be there more than 20 years or so. So that is again uh, these same corporate companies, when they found that soils have become infertile and they couldn't produce more, they started saying, they know, like start saying like plant doesn't need soil to grow. Plant only needs nutrients to grow. So they said, okay, then we'll grow in rock, we'll grow in coir pit or whatever it is. So what they did is, whatever the inorganic manure they had, they liquefied it, and they said, you start just mix in water, give it to the plant, it will grow. So that's about hydroponics basically. Like mostly as of now, hydroponics is again being dealt and being promoted by these corporate companies. They have different brands who all do these manure and the pesticides. These guys have these nutrient solutions, and they say like for different plants they have different nutrient solutions. They give you the ratio, and they say like it is very water efficient and all these things. But here the basic question is, where are you deriving your nutrients from? Those are again inorganic, those are again chemicals. But they say it is organic, and they say it comes under organic certified products and things like that. Now the question is, I'll ask you, when there is no microbes in the system, your organic farming is done by microbes. They convert the waste, any biodegradable waste, to plant food, NPK. So that's being done by the microbes. But here you give as NPK and the micronutrients. So here again you don't have microbes playing any role, but they claim it is organic. And unfortunately, who is fixing all these organic limits? It's again the corporate companies. They just fix the organic limits and they say it is within the organic. So that's why hydroponics has not gained momentum. A lot of people ask me what is the difference between hydroponics and aquaponics. So this is one of the main difference. We use hydroponics methods in aquaponics, but the way you give the nutrients are completely different. It's not that we can say hydroponics cannot be done organically. You can do organically provided if you give the nutrients organically, if you could produce it. But I don't think people are working on it. Certain people say it is we are giving organic nutrients. It's again we have to test it and check it out. In fact, so as a technology, hydroponics is a good technology. I'm not against the technology; it works. But again, whether it is organic, inorganic, we have a challenge like getting again the input cost is in the same pattern. The nutrients you have to buy from somebody, so you are depending on another company. In fact, here again it is not easy. It's highly challenging. You have to know. See here again we take the God's role, the nature's role. So in an organic thing, it's completely different. In an inorganic, you say if I'm going tomatoes, then I say I know what is the tomato and what is the nutrient it needs, what is the ratio of nutrients NPK it needs, and different stages. Again, plant has different stages. So when you say I know everything, then you have to rightly give that. If you don't do that, again it will not grow. You will have deficiencies. So basically, these type of hydroponics are a bit challenging, and any inorganic farming it is not easy. It is a bit challenging, in fact. So there are few different methods of doing hydroponics. I don't want to get inside those things. So this is about hydroponics, and the next one is called aeroponics. So maybe aeroponics is an updated version of hydroponics, we can say. So instead of making the plant or the plant roots floating in water, we spray a mist of water in the root zone. And then in that mist of water, that water will have nutrients. So you just spray the nutrients to the root zone. The root absorbs the nutrients and it grows. Technically speaking, yes, it will work. It's good. The technology is great. That's all fine. But there are a lot of practical difficulties in these things. In fact, see, you can't use a normal water. When you use a normal water, your nozzles may get clogged and things like that. So you have to purify the water, do a RO or whatever it is. So all these things will increase your cost. In fact, and if at all one sensor doesn't work, you can see the plant going down immediately because there is no moisture. It is completely suspended. So you have to see to that your moisture level is really always maintained. If you don't do that, your plant will die. Immediately you can see, just within half an hour, you can see the plant going down, everything. So even though the technology is good, but practically saying there are a lot of challenges in the system. It's pretty expensive also. So the next one is the aquaponics. So basically, what is aquaponics? Aquaponics is a modern, sustainable, organic farming technology, a food growing technology, which grows fish and plants together. So basically, we can say it is a marriage between agriculture and aquaculture using hydroponics methods. Basically, when you check internet, like a lot of people will say it is an integration of aquaculture and hydroponics. Basically, I a bit differ from that because in hydroponics you cannot grow all the plants. In aquaculture you can grow certain things. In hydroponics you can't grow all the plants. But in my research, I have grown almost all the plants. I'm talking about different species. Like I've grown herbs, I've grown vegetables, I've grown trees in this. I've grown banana, sugarcane, lot more I just tried and still I'm working on. So I think the word agriculture is very important to add in aquaponics, because you have to know how a plant grows, what a plant needs, and based on that you have to design the system, and couple with the aquaculture system, and you should know what type of aquaculture you're having. There are a lot of calculations for that, the biomass production, the density, and then how do you convert, and biofilters and things like that. So I think this is the right way of saying it's a marriage between agriculture and aquaculture. So both these things you should have basic knowledge. You should know about how a plant grows. You should know about how a fish or anything else grows, in fact. And then we couple this using hydroponics method. So there are different methods. We can have different models to do that. So that's how we couple agriculture and aquaculture together. It's a beautiful system wherein it's a symbiotic system. It works beautifully. You grow fish. Aquaculture needs a lot of water, and then agriculture as well needs water. Now there's a huge water problem everywhere. Now this system, it's completely a recirculative system. So very little water is sufficient to do farming in this technology. In a layman's term, I can say uh, we cannot do soil-based agriculture by buying water. You can't pay for the water and do soil-based agriculture. But in aquaponics, you can buy water and do this agriculture, because you're recirculating. You don't need much water. You're completely recirculating. The only loss you're going to see is the evaporation loss and the plants, whatever it takes the water. That's it. That can be topped up, in fact. So this is a beautiful system which can be done anywhere in the whole world. In a desert where you don't have soil, where you don't have water, you can do aquaponics. The thing is, maybe you might have to do a climate control, you may have to do a greenhouse and do it, but it is possible. So this is about aquaponic cycle, and basically this is what happens. So basically, you feed the fish, and the fish eats the food and produces waste. The waste has a lot of ammonia. In aquaculture industry, this ammonia is a big trouble, because the ammonia level goes up, that will kill the fish. So to control this ammonia, there are a lot of ways basically aquaculture industry is working on. They try to have probiotics, they try to have filters, and lot more things, in fact. So ammonia control becomes a big problem when that will kill the fish. So sorry, I'm just putting this phone off. To control this ammonia, yeah, sorry. So this ammonia is a big problem in aquaculture industry, whereas this ammonia can be converted to nitrite and nitrate with the help of the microbes, and this happens naturally. In fact, you may have to only design the system, and naturally this will happen. So this ammonia, the waste of the fish, which is toxin to the fish, becomes the food for a plant. So the microbes convert it, and this nitrate, which is the best food for the plant takes the nitrate and it grows well. Now what happens when you take the nitrate off the system? You purify the system, and that purified water again comes back to the fish. So fish eats the waste of the food, becomes the food for the plant. The plant eats the food and then purifies the water, gives it back to the fish. So both the guys really live happily. It's a beautiful symbiotic system, and what happens in all your lakes, ponds, and things like that. This is how aquaponics works, in fact. Now, let me not get inside the technicality of this, because that's a very big subject. So we have separate paid workshops for this. Maybe if you guys are interested, you can just participate in those paid workshops where we'll talk about in detail about how what is a plant, how it grows, what is a fish, how it grows, and the disease deficiencies. How do you design a system? So that's a big topic, in fact. So let's not talk about those things now. Now I'm going to talk about the advantages of aquaponics. So we can say like why it's going to be the future of farming. So number one, it is 100% organic food production. So basically, and another advantage is you cannot do inorganic in aquaponics. So producing 100% organic is one advantage, and you cannot do inorganic. So that makes the system a foolproof system. So that is again a beautiful advantage, which I forgot to mention. But yes, because if you put any chemicals, if you put any pesticide or if you put any chemicals as manure, this will go and kill the fish. When it kills the fish is the nutrient provider for the plant. So the whole system collapses. Aquaponics is nothing but you're designing a natural ecosystem. The only thing is there are few engineering in that, like how do you do it? You have to balance it properly. The challenge is balancing the unit. If you properly balance this ecosystem, it will work for your whole life. So the next point is very less water consumption. Again, very key point. In future, we may not get water even to drink. We may have a lot of issues. So at that point of time, when you don't have water to drink, you will not pour water on soil saying I'm doing agriculture. Nobody will do that. But whereas in this, it consumes only 1/10 of the water which normal agriculture consumes. Like it's just 10% of the water, and you completely recirculate that. So it's a beautiful system. It conserves really it conserves a lot of water. When compared to even hydroponics and other things, hydroponics they add a lot of nutrients, and in different phases they will completely flush the water out and give new water. The water which they are flushing out, they will not consider it at all. They will also claim like it's like 90% water efficient and things like that. But those things they don't consider. But in this system, really you don't add a single extra drop of water. You completely recirculate and only the evaporated water you top it up. So real water conservation happens only in aquaponics. And the next one is very less manpower. So basically, labor becomes a great issue, and then we don't have labors for agriculture particularly. So this is to start with is a semi-automatic system, and you can make it fully automatic also. So basically, your manpower is less. I can't say it is completely. You don't need manpower. You need somebody. It's something like one person can take over 1 acre of land or a bigger size of land. It depends on the size of automation, in fact. So with a very limited manpower, yes, you can control bigger units, in fact. Next one is very less power consumption. So assume that in a conventional agriculture where you put bore for 500 feet, 1000 feet, 1500 feet, and then you put a 10 HP, 15 HP motor, you just pump the water down. When you go down, again your minerals and everything, TDS goes up, hardness goes up. You face a lot of issues. But here, it's nothing but a small tank and just pump the water from the tank to the grow bed. It's hardly 1 or 2 meters, in fact. So the consumption of power is very, very less in fact when compared to the conventional agriculture. So now another major problem with the government is giving a free electricity. Now with this system you don't have to do that. You just put a solar system or you just put something else, very little power is consumed. That's more than sufficient. So very, very power efficient in fact. Then the next one is very less space consumption. So this is a beautiful point for urban farming. See now, as I told you, cities are really growing vertically up, and people we don't have space to even live. Do you think can we do agriculture inside the city? But the potential is high. Everybody consumes, and we are all ready to pay twice and thrice the price if it is a real good product, an organic product. So the market is inside the city, but it is being produced outside. Now through this system, you can produce, you can do agriculture inside the city. You can use your rooftops, you can use all your balconies, whatever the space available, you can start doing it. You can have a vertical system. So there are n number of new designs you can bring, you can work on it, and then it is the future of urban farming, in fact. The next one is high yield. So basically, they say it is like 1.5 to 2 times it gives the yield of a normal soil-based system. See, basically, for any good growth, you have to give water and food, or the nutrients you talk about. So this system always provides water as well as nutrients, in fact. So obviously, the system really has to work well, and it has to produce more, in fact. So the productivity is high, the yield is also high. And the next point is very important. Like so, basically, like production throughout the year. This in a soil-based system is not possible because there are a lot of other challenges. The production cannot happen throughout the year for want of water. The production cannot happen for want of your climate, winter, summer, and different climate zones. So you may not be in a position to do it, frost, whatever it is. But it's a beautiful system. You can grow throughout the year. You can grow inside a greenhouse or something like that. And that again depends on the place where you're living. See, for me, I'll tell you, in Coimbatore, I can produce throughout the year without greenhouse. I don't need a greenhouse here. This system doesn't need a greenhouse. Whereas in a hydroponics and in an aeroponics, you cannot do a system without greenhouse. Because one, they talk about pest and things like that. Here again, you have pest issues. But still, like there, they can't face rainwater. The rainwater mixes with that system, it gets diluted. But here, it's a natural system. Rainwater is good for the system. So you can have it even without greenhouse, in fact. So this is another very important point. You can produce throughout the year. So your yield again, your yield is high, and the number of cycles you do, that is also increasing. For example, you do 3 crops in a year in a soil-based system, where you can do 5 crops a year in this system. Maybe we can talk about this in detail in the other session, because that's a big topic we have to talk about. So production throughout the year, and double income through plants and fish. So this is again a very important point which the other systems like hydroponics or the aeroponics cannot challenge. So even if your capital cost is the same for all these 3 units, maybe slightly different here and there, but still capital cost is high for all these 3 systems. The return on investment, it is also high in aquaponics. In a hydroponic unit or aeroponic unit, you get only vegetables or whatever the crop you want. Here, you get the fish as well as the vegetable. So you get dual income. If one income takes care of your overheads and all the other things, the other will be 100% profitable to you. So your return on investment also will be high, and once you achieve that return on investment, your profitability is also very high. This system works, once if you set it, then it works throughout your life. So having all these positive points, I could say like this is one of the best system wherein we can call it, this is the future of farming itself. So aquaponics will play a major role in modern agriculture. Now we'll talk about need of the hour. Cities are fast growing. As I told you, the density is really high. Population density is very high in the cities. So what happens is the food is only coming from the rural, and the farmers are going down in rural. Farmers are quitting farming, going out. But even now we are dependent only on rural farmers. Now look at this. This is that there is an imbalance here. So farmers are dwindling, cities are growing. The food in the cities, the requirements are high, people are ready to pay more, everything is there, but the farmers are going down. So you can understand the link between that. The middleman makes the money, farmer dies, so he doesn't want to do farming. A farmer doesn't want his next generation to do farming because it's not profitable. Now when this happens, what will happen tomorrow? You will not have farmer to produce, but you will be having lot of people. So you will start either importing, or the corporate companies will again come acquire your land and they will do big time farming. And they'll say it is organic and they'll say it is certified and all these things they'll bring it. And tomorrow we'll be in the hands of a corporate as we are today. And all the raw materials are in the hands of corporate. If it goes like this in future, the food also will be produced by the corporate and we'll be only consumers. They'll be the producers making a lot of money. When they produce, they are the middlemen and they are the producers and we will be only the consumers. So it is really alarming. We have to think about it. There is a huge potential for this. If we could just analyze this and start working on this, everybody have to eat. If you can give good food, good produce, I tell you, you will have perennial business. The product is perishable. So they have to buy. They can't just have it. It is like not like your cell phone. I think you have it for a year. Buy today. In another couple of days it will perish. You have to buy. So this is the need of our, so we have to really work on it, and I think a lot of people have to come inside instead of quitting agriculture. I feel people have to learn agriculture properly, get inside this, and we have to start producing. And I'll tell you, just not one or two players can just play in the market. The market is huge. So you don't have to worry about the competition. There can be n number of players, there are n number of products. One cannot produce all the products. So the potential is tremendously high. So people have to get inside. The younger generation have to get inside this. People can do it as a part-time business. People can do it as a full-time business. There are a lot of things we can do with this. So with all these things, I could say aquaponics is going to be the future of farming. The momentum for aquaponics is building up. So now I've given you only the overall picture, but technically there are a lot of things. It is not that easy. You just see and anybody can just buy something and do it. You have to understand the concept. You have to design it properly. That's where we conduct workshops for that. We conduct a technical workshop and we also conduct a commercial workshop. So basically you can understand how it works, and we also do consultancy so that we can establish in designing a unit for you, or we can make a home starter kit and give it to you. So this is what we are doing in fact. Maybe I'll just show you a couple of my work so you can understand what you're working. So this is my setup in Coimbatore, the Aquaponics India. So that's my showroom and office, and we have a museum here. Basically, this is for students we have developed. So we want the younger generation to learn the STEAM education through aquaponics. It's not the robotics. We talk about food production, and we want to teach science, technology, engineering, arts, and maths through agriculture. So kids really love it, and we have workshops and we conduct classes and we do this. And maybe in this 4 years, I will say like I would have designed more than 15 to 20 different units. Each and every time, like I love doing new things. We explore, we start researching and see what are all the do's and don'ts and issues in that. So basically, we are working on these things. So I'll just show you a couple of units what we did, and I think since I've not talked technical about this, I don't know how to explain this, but there are different methods like media bed system, DWC system, NFT systems. You might have seen in the YouTube and things like that. So I have linked all these things together. I have put it as a separate unit. I've done a lot of researches. So this is maybe one of the systems we did. So this is another system where you might have heard about Dutch bucket system. In fact, so this is a sort of a Dutch bucket system we did, and yeah, this is a DWC system. We did lettuce and a few other crops in this. So this is one of the systems. Yeah, and this is basically like we have worked on different mediums. In fact. So all these 4 years we have traveled to a greater extent. We have just seen how plants grow without soil and with different mediums. There are a lot of mediums you can work. Every medium has its own advantage and disadvantages. This again, I'm not going inside the technical part of it. I just wanted to show you like what all the different mediums we worked. In fact, so these are all few mediums we work. The first picture, we have three different mediums. If you guys would have seen my YouTube video, there I would have shown you the growth, how it works in the three different mediums. So first one is the pebble bed, where it's completely rock from the river bed, and the second one is the charcoal bed, where you have charcoal in that, and the third one is the gravel bed, where you have the blue metal gravel or whatever it is. And in the right side you can see like I have gravel plus hydrotons, the clay pebbles. In fact, that's a mixture in fact. And the next one is clay pebbles with toughened glass. I worked with toughened glass also. And yeah, third one is again toughened glass and clay pebble. The fourth one, the bottommost, is like clay pebbles with scrubbers. So all type of crazy combinations we tried, and everything had its own advantage and disadvantages. In fact, yeah. And this one is one of my best system, and this is my matured system. In fact, basically you can see how rich the plants are, how green the plants are. So this means like how much of nutrients the plants are having, and how good it grows. See these plants, like on your left you see the Karpuravalli, we call it in Tamil, or we call it Omavalli, or in Hindi you call it Ajwain. So that's a beautiful herb. Generally, ajwain, you might have seen a soil-based ajwain will be very much smaller than the leaves, whatever you're seeing here. And the leaves are so big. The growth, you can see how it is like a bush. It is coming out like that, and it is so aromatic. And then I use this for my personal use, my kids and things like that. So it's so nice. And the second one, I don't know if you guys can see my pointer. This one is basically a brinjal, in fact. Uh, so you can see it's flowering and things like that. I didn't take a close shot, in fact. And the right side is called the insulin plant. So basically, the insulin plant is a beautiful herb which was developed by Kerala government, and this particular plant is good for diabetes patients. And it is not only good for diabetes patient; it can be consumed by anybody, those who don't even have diabetes, because it controls the blood sugar, and it improves the digestion, it improves the liver function, and there are a lot more benefits. Maybe you can Google and find it out, in fact. So this is called an insulin plant. And even this insulin plant, I think a lot of you guys will be having insulin plant in soil, and you can see the difference of the growth, in fact. So it is really growing out well, and it used to cut down because of the weight and other things. So I used to cut it out and give it to people, put it in a different system. It really grows well. So this is the system. Like maybe I can explain. This is the fish tank or the nutrient tank. Basically, we grow the fish here, and this water is pumped up here, and here you have a media bed, and the plants are grown in this media bed, in fact. So the microbial activity happens in this bed, and you grow the system. And again, another advantage of aquaponics over hydroponics and aeroponics is, like in hydroponics and aeroponics, you cannot do multiple crop. Means in one system, you cannot do multiple crop, because the company will give you nutrient for one particular crop, and that too for one particular stage. See, suppose you're growing tomatoes, The tomatoes, all the tomatoes has to be in the same age group. So initially they'll give you a grower nutrient, so it will make that will have a lot of nitrogen. It will make the plant to grow well. And then the second part will, when it starts flowering, then they'll give you a second set of nutrients where the P and K will be a bit more for the plant to grow, flower, then fruit well, and harvest. So in different stages, the requirement of nutrients are completely different. So in a hydroponics and an aeroponics, you cannot do systems like this. You can't do multiple crop in that. But here it's not like that. You can do any damn type of different crops in any damn stages. Don't worry. So there are a lot more advantages of aquaponics over other systems in that. And this is basically these are two different fishes where we can use any type of fish, but generally like tilapias are a bit hardy fish. So what happens is these fishes like they grow well in the system. And so the first fish what you see is a red tilapia, where it's really beautiful. You can see it's like a koi carp and things like that. And the fish the taste is also good. It's a bit soft and the taste is also good. The second one is called a nilotica. This is again the gray fish. You might have seen the regular tilapias, but again there are different types of tilapias available in the market, which I don't want to get inside that. So there are different fishes you can just grow in this system. So we conduct workshops for adults as well as for kids, in fact. So every month, second Sundays, we have a workshop for adults. That is for it's called Aquaponics for beginners. And those who want to learn aquaponics from the basics, they can join those sessions. We'll talk from the basics. We'll give you the technical aspects. We'll teach you how to design the system and things like that. So every second Sundays, every month, second Sundays, we have a system called Aquaponic for beginners. And the third Sundays, we conduct workshops for commercial aquaponics. So that's what we do. If you are interested in this, I prefer you guys can message me, so that in my mobile number, which is maybe I'll just put it in the message, 93 1 second, 936310631. Okay, so maybe I've just put my number. I think it's there everywhere. So you can send me your name, your place, and your field of interest. Like, are you interested in domestic aquaponics, that you want to grow your own food, organic food, or you're planning to do some commercial aquaponics? Then I think I'll save your number in my broadcast, so that it's easy for me to send all the notifications regarding the workshops or any video I make or any webinar like this, so you can be in the group, in fact. So these workshops basically for adults we conduct, and we also conduct for kids, in fact. So we have summer camps and things like that. But due to now pandemic, we don't do the normal classes for kids. So we have online classes. Specifically for kids, we have not started. If a school or anybody is really interested with more number of people, maybe we can schedule one for them. We can do that. And so we teach the kids with what happened. 1 second, the slides are changing. Okay. So basically, like the first slide, what you see is see these kids were a bit special to us. They are all special kids. Those who I have special challenges, So we took a class for them, and they really enjoyed the session. In fact, and we also ask them to design their own system, and they come out with their own creative ideas, and we just correct the system. We tell them why you should do, why you should not do. So kids really love it, playing with plants, playing with fish. Everybody like, even adults we like it, and kids also love it. And for adults, like we talk more of technical and how to do that, and that will be a different session for adults. What we do. And this one is basically our upcoming workshop. That is the not this Sunday, the next Sunday, the second Sunday, 9th, we have our workshop that is Aquaponics for beginners. And yeah, then on the third week, I think I have the Aquaponics. So this is in the coming weeks we have this. We are conducting even now, and basically now we do it through Google Meet, and people those who are in Coimbatore, those who could come physically are also welcome. We do that also. That's why we have online session as well as classroom session, and people wish to do it can just come down and back. I think with this we just come to an end, in fact, and we'll have a questionnaire session now. So I think those who want to ask any questions have two different ways of doing it. One is you can message it so that I'll read it and I'll try to answer your questions. Two is like you can even call me in my mobile number. First, I have switched it off. Now, if you call, I can take it, and maybe I can answer your question also. So either way, we can just do this. And one other thing I just would like to know, like whether the session was useful or not. So you guys can just tell me how it is, and you guys, I can send you. I don't know how many people are here. I think there are very few, and now I don't have their contacts. If you can help me, you can go to your Google browser. Just type the Aquaponics India. There you can go to my Aquaponic page, and you can give me a review there. So you have a star rating there and you have a comment there. So kindly just give me your review, so which will help me to improve. Or if you want, if you're happy with this, great. And then if you want anything else also, you can just mention in that, so which will be helpful. So I think now we can go to the questionnaire session. Maybe you can ask questions, so I can just answer your questions now. Hi friends, I think now we have paused the recorded session. Now I'm live, and before getting inside the questionnaire, I think I've just shared you a link that is. That's I just request you to give a review on whatever we did. That's my Aquaphonics India page. So you guys can go click the link and give a positive review, which will help us in doing a lot more free videos, and can make a couple of YouTube videos and things like that. So we'll just take next 3 to 4 minutes for that. So I'll just pause and wait till then. And I could say the time is 11:42, or maybe we'll just wait till 11:45 or 46. You guys can go to that link, give me a review, and we'll just start. I think you can post your questions. Maybe we'll start it from then. Next 3 to 4 minutes, then I'll start answering your questions. Thank you. So I'm just waiting for you guys to go and give me a positive review. I'll just give 3 to 4 minutes for that. Thank you. Okay, I think we can start answering the questions. Hmm, we'll start from the beginning. Okay, I think we'll start from Priya ma'am. I've shared the details of the workshop. If you can join my broadcast by sending your message, you will get it in your WhatsApp also. And Mr. Vivek Sundaram, you asked me like how profitable is aquaponics business? Will you share any cost and economic metrics? See, number one is aquaponics is a new technology. Number one is you have to understand the technicality first, and you have to explore. Now, it is a profitable business, but the thing is, what you do, how you do it, and where do you do it. So it depends on this. The profitability varies. The return on investment also varies. So as I told you, if you could do it directly, there will be a lot of people. They ask me whether they can do aquaponics and sell it to the market. I say rather don't do aquaponics at all, because anything you produce and if you are giving to a market is a middleman. He takes the major profit. So I always recommend to go and sell it to the direct end user, the consumer. So likewise, there are a lot of things you have to see before doing your profitability. Again, depends on that. So uh, sharing the cost economics, that's again a subjective question. We have to work it out, and we talk more about this in our commercial aquaponics workshop. Then, what is the distance between plants you need to maintain? Um, Mr. Rajshekar sir, that's again a subjective question, because all the plants doesn't have the same distance. Every plant has different spacing, in fact. So espacement is a big subject in agriculture. So for example, if you're putting greens like spinach, lettuce and things like that, it's around 1 feet you give the spacement. And you put tomatoes, okra, brinjal, maybe 1.5 to 2 feet will be the spacement. If you're putting bananas, then it's from 6 to 8 or even 10. Depends on the size of the plant. For coconut, we can say it's around 20 to 25 feet. So it varies. It's not the same for all the plants, in fact. So the next one is 1 second. I think I can use. Okay. The next one. Thanks for sharing the nice presentation. Thank you, Mr. Raj. Are there any challenges faced by the technology for large scale adoption apart from the setup cost? Priya ma'am, yes, if you want to make it big, the first challenge will be your capital cost. So everybody will be taking a step back, seeing the capital cost. But for any business, you have to invest some X amount, in fact. So that will be the first challenge, and then the technology will be the second challenge. In fact, see, unless you understand how a plant grows and how a fish you grow, the disease deficiency, and now in aquaponics, it's basically like you're integrating two different things. See, growing plants is one elaborate subject where you have a separate university, an agriculture university for that. Growing fish, again, it's an elaborate subject. You have a fisheries university separately. Now aquaponics is going to deal with both. It's something like you're integrating two different universities. So it's not that I want to say it is a rocket science where you can't do it, but you have to understand there are a lot of technicalities in that. You have to understand that and then go in for a bigger unit. So that's what we recommend. So how we work is basically we want to educate people. You understand the basic concept. Do a small pilot in your house. So first start growing plants and fish for you, and then you can just scale it up to the next level. So I think that will be the right way for any individual to start. But that's not the way for a corporate. Corporate really works in a different way. So they can directly go for commercialization. But I think individuals, I prefer go this way. It will really help. But again, you should have a lot of patience and perseverance to learn this. So don't think you learn today and tomorrow you can do it. No, you should have time to learn this. And we go to the next question. If it is in Tamil also, it will be very useful for more Tamil people. Okay, this I'll talk in Tamil. தமிழ்ல பேசணும்னு எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஆசைங்க. ஆனா this session is நிறைய பேர் இது வந்து ஆல் ஓவர் இந்தியா இதை வந்துட்டு கேட்டுட்டு இருக்குன்னா நிறைய பேருக்கு தமிழ் தெரியாது. அதனால இதை வந்துட்டு தமிழ்ல பண்ணேன். தமிழ்ல எக்ஸ்க்ளூசிவாவே ஒன்று தனியா பண்ணணும்னாலும் நிச்சயமா பண்ணலாம். மேபி அது கன்சிடர் திஸ் இன் ஃபியூச்சர். நான் வந்து பார்த்தீங்கன்னா தனியாக தமிழில் பண்ணுறதுக்கும் ஒரு செஷன் வச்சுட்டு ஃப்ரீ வெபினார் ஃபார் தமிழ் அண்ட் அப்படின்னு கூட வச்சு கூட பண்ணலாம். நெக்ஸ்ட் டைம் நிச்சயமாக கன்சிடர் பண்ணிட்டு இதே மாதிரி பண்ணுறேங்க. ஸோ திஸ் டைம் சின்ஸ் லாட் ஆஃப் பீப்புள் ஆர் தேர், ஸோ ஐ எம் டூயிங் இட் இன் இங்கிலீஷ். நெக்ஸ்ட் டைம் வில் ஷோர்லி கன்சிடர் திஸ் மிஸ்டர் மணிவண்ணன் சார். And how profitable is the business? Do you have? Okay, I think I've answered that question, Mr. Vivek. And how much required for startup system? Okay, how much required for a startup system? இது எப்படின்னா like see in our workshop we'll give you the basics and we'll give you some basic design aspects also. So if you're a guy that you can do a DIY with a material which is available in the market, or a reusable material, you can do that. But we are also working on designing a home startup kit. So I would say a decent home startup kit will start from 30,000 rupees, and plus it may go till 3 lakhs. Depends on the size of your unit, depends on the place. There are a lot more parameters that if you come for my technical workshop, I think we can help you in that and you will understand better in that. And for another information, I'll tell you, we have designed a very small aquaponic system that costs you only 300 rupees. So we have designed this unit for kids, those who want to learn agriculture or grow their own food. So this is one of the smallest micro aquaponics kit we have designed. If you are interested, you can just send me a message. I can send you pictures and I can send you this also. So you can start with by just buying this. And even corporates, if you want to put it on your tabletop, you'll have a fish, you'll have microgreens growing in that, and every week you can have fresh microgreens. So that's one of our smallest aquaponics kit, which is around 300 rupees. So cost and space is not a constraint for aquaponics. You can design to any shape, size, whatever you want. Okay, then Mr. Manivan sir, is that you need sunlight also required. Sunlight is very, very essential for any plant to grow. If you don't have sunlight, you cannot grow anything. So if you don't have sunlight, then you may have to give artificial grow lights for that. Generally, I don't recommend that. It's for only people those who really don't have sunlight. Say Western countries, they are in frost, they're in winter, wherein they can't do anything. They may think about growing plants in indoor. But India, I would say like it's a really beautiful country, and very specifically, I will talk about South India. Throughout the year, we have sunlight. Maybe North India we have with extreme climate, but South India is gifted with that. So I think you prefer always sunlight. That's the best. Very useful information. Thank you, Pushpa ma'am, and okay, very good information session today. Thank you, Mr. Abdul Khalid sir. What is the initial cost for a balcony? Mr. Prabhu, I think answered this question. Initial cost, it again depends. It may start from 30,000 to 3 lakhs. Depends on the size, and we have a smaller system for even 300 rupees. So we can work it out. And Trilog, sir, like it is like choice in soil testing and soil health management. Yes, this is a beautiful system. When you go for a soil-based system, you have to do all these soil tests. You have to identify the nutrients, whatever you have in the soil, because different soil have a different nutrient level, and you work on that. But another beautiful advantage of an aquaponics is all the nutrients are being transferred through water, not in soil. We don't use soil, we use mediums. So these mediums are it has to be pH neutral, so there will be no change. It is just a holding agent, it doesn't give any nutrients in fact. So now you can do all these nutrient check, talking about the macronutrients or the micronutrients. That is, you can do it in the water. You just take the water and do it. That's another beautiful advantage in aquaponics. In the soil based system, you cannot test the whole property, the whole land, whatever you have. You will be doing a random sampling there. You'll be taking some soil here and there and you'll be doing a random sampling. So that's not 100% accurate. One. Two, if you have some issues, say some nutrient deficiency, or you have more nutrients in a soil, you cannot change these things in a soil based system. But whereas in an aquaponic system, it's just the medium, the water goes to every nook and corner. So you can easily transfer the nutrients. If you want to add nutrients, you want to reduce nutrients, that can be possible in aquaponics. So that has a beautiful edge over a soil based system, sir. And how to control pH level in fish tank? It's not only fish tank, Mr. Manivannan. This is an integrated system. You have to balance it between fish as well as the plant. So there are ways, you can increase pH, you can decrease pH, but you cannot suddenly increase or decrease. It has to be done in a very slow pace, because this sudden increase and decrease will give a big shock to the fish. So there should not be any stress to the fish. It is possible, like, but again, a technical subject, the bigger one. I think we can deal this later in the aquaponics for beginner sessions. In fact, Mr. Trilokshar, you said, oh, agronomy. Okay, I think it's a contact number. Great. Okay, thank you for the presentation. Did you get it's in marketing? Okay, Mr. Chandramohan sir, like basically yes, we do help in marketing, but we don't promise anything on that, because we don't know, the market is completely different in different geographical places. So what we can do is we can work as a consultant, and we can basically help you in designing the system. We can educate you how to do the system. So there will play a major role. And we talking about the commercial part and selling part, there we insist the individual to take the major role. You have to do the homework, where you are going to do it, because the strength and the capacity of each and every person individual varies. So maybe you may have a good export potential, you may have some relatives, or you may have a business in a different part of this world. Then it's easy for you to export. Or you may live in an apartment where you have 500 houses or 1,000 apartments. Then that's a beautiful market for you. You don't have to go out, you just can only sell to your apartments, in fact. So likewise, this really varies from person to person, where you live, things like that. So but we can help you in marketing. We can just tell you certain things. So there we can help you as a consultant, in fact. Mr. Vivek, is only nitrate is available from the fish waste, which is fed to plants. So how about other components like PK and macros? Okay, Mr. Vivek, it's like the fish waste contains. It's not the nitrate. Nitrate is not good, and the plant doesn't take it. It's sorry, nitrate. I'm sorry. Sorry, nitrate doesn't. Nitrate is the best thing, but it also has all the other micronutrients also. The In the initial system, see, we will call it initial system and a matured system. In a matured system, you will not have any of these macro and micro nutrient deficiencies. You may have these deficiency when you start the unit at the time of cycling, and after that cycling the system has to get matured. So initially you may have potassium deficiency, iron deficiency. These are a bit common deficiency in aquaponics. But when you make it a matured system, there are ways to do it. Like you have to do only that way. When you do it by maybe introducing earthworms, and there are different ways to do it. In fact, so by doing that, after a while, it takes minimum 6 months to 1 year for a system to get matured. When a system gets matured, then you don't have to worry about any of these macro as well as the micronutrients. The system will have all these nutrients. The picture which I've shown you, the insulin plant and other things, that's a matured system. That's more than 3 years I'm working on that. You put any damn thing in that, it will really grow well in that. So likewise, just you have to make the system mature. Okay, thank you. So, Kids Kit is good idea, a good initiative. Uh, Thanks, Ms. Madam Sharmila Dinesh. And thank you very much. Okay, good noon. Okay, fish food for plants. Fish food basically like it varies based on the fish what you're growing. In fact, so there are different types of fishes available, and depends on the fish. Like you have carnivorous, omnivorous, as well as herbivorous fishes. So your fish feed completely varies on these type of fishes. But don't worry, it doesn't make a great difference in the nutrients which it gives to the fish. It's almost the same waste and it has nitrates and it gives the best food. So these things will not have a big impact on the system. You don't have to worry about that. Okay. Any specific food we have to feed that you're talking about fish? Yes, that depends on the type of fish you're going to grow. It varies. The diet completely varies for these different types of fishes. So yes, you have to work on that. What type of fish you grow, you have to give a different diet for them. Mr. Vishwa, how can I get Kids Kit? You can message me, sir. I've given you the number in that WhatsApp. You can just message me, and I'll give you the details. You can buy it. I can just courier it to you. You can get it. Bashir sir, thank you so much. Thank you for all your appreciation and being a part of this session. Thank you so much, sir. Dr. Bashir sir is again a very good friend of mine. He's in Cochin and he's an expert in aquaculture, in shrimp farming, fish farming, you name anything. Like he's a wonderful guy, a wonderful human being. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Vishwa. Right. So I think I've almost answered all the questions. If you have any, we can just continue. I'll just wait for another 2 to 3 minutes, or I think we can end up the session. Hope it was useful. And if you could give me a positive review, kindly do just give me a review, which will help me and motivate me to do more sessions like this. In fact, thank you, Mr. Vishwa. Thank you, Mr. Manivannan. Thank you, Mr. Vivek. Okay, I think that's it. Like, okay, one more question I have. Unique. Sure, ma'am. I'll be happy to do that. I think you can call me. We can talk this in person and work it out, ma'am. Okay, so we are almost in the end of the session. Thank you so much for patiently listening to my session. Hope it was useful to you. And I'm planning to do more like this. Um, Srilata has a question like, can I grow it in my aquarium? Yes, you can connect or convert your aquarium into an aquaphonic system. So if you have an existing aquarium, so I think I prefer you come to this aquaponics for beginners class so you can understand the technical aspect and then you can even convert your aquariums to an aquaponic system. Thank you for the informative presentation. Thank you, Mr. Trilok Naik, sir. Right. Thank you, everyone. I think we can wind up, and thank you for being patient and listening to my session. and we will keep in touch. I will be sending you a lot more videos and even these free webinars. You can just send me your contacts to my WhatsApp so that I can add you to my broadcast, and we'll start forming a new group. We can even so my aim is I just want everybody to just grow their own organic food and eat. So let's spread this awareness and create a good platform for the younger generation to grow healthy food. In fact, thank you so much. Bye.